What's happening, everybody? Welcome back. This is Forgo, and today we're gonna have a little fun with Rugal in Guild Raid because in Guild Raid on Inferno, you actually need bleed or poison, which means that Rugal, Mr. Deal Bleed, right, is going to be really ideal for this thing. And poison's actually pretty interesting. Now, something to keep in mind, guys, is the team that I'm going to be using actually would work amazingly if you were able to use BS Zero. The reason BS Zero would be awesome is because he has bleed and poison, right? Just nutty. He would be godly for this thing, especially considering as a shield. Unfortunately, on this account, I don't have Zero leveled up at all, so I've actually replaced him with Ginnets. Now, you're probably wondering yourselves, wait a minute, you got a BS character here and you're using Ginnets. What's going on here? The reason you use Guinness is because of the amount of hits that this character does. When it comes to breaking meters, guys, when you apply a certain dot, the more hits that you do, the faster that meter can break. Despite Guinness not being even remotely as strong as Rugal, he does a lot of hits. He's able to break the meter a lot faster. And Rugal, the way that I have my Rugal built with the shout, right? With shout instead of tenacity, this thing is nice for extra damage, right? And I'm still kind of working on playing with it, right? I just mapped it to my controller, so I'm still trying to get used to it. Tenacity actually might be a better choice. Now, you're only going to be able to unlock this crap whenever you have your character at A5. So these kinds of things are only going to be particular to, the veterans of the game or a massive whale that already has Rugal at A5, because that's when you actually unlock these kinds of things. But if you unlock this, man, you can, whenever you're in danger and the guild raid boss Rugal gets ready to explode, you can actually hit the skill, get a heal, and have a decreased damage received by 99%. And I honestly think, guys, that might be the better choice, especially if you plan on using Rugal for guild raid. The shout is nice, and there are some niche things in the game that it's pretty useful for, and it does add some damage for sure, guys. But I don't know. I feel like, Rugal's so strong. I feel like really you'd almost be better off to go with this. However, we're going to do a little workaround today, considering I'm going to try to use shout. Now, guys, the gameplay won't be the greatest because I haven't really been playing Rugal that long. And like I said, I just mapped this shout button to my controller. So I'm still trying to get used to, hitting it at the right time. You got to hit your EX skill before you use your awakened skill, so it can be a little tricky at times. It really just takes a little getting used to. Oh yeah, real quickly, by the way, also for Rugal, I'm probably going to end up resetting these here because he does a lot more damage on his strike skills. He has 2 strike skills, the second and third skill, and I actually think it'd be better to have this at level 5, so that way I could go all the way up to 160%. Maybe better to have the Kaiser Wave a little bit lower and these two on a higher level. And I think he would actually do a little bit more damage if I did. Now, I am running the Idol Cooler set. Now, something to keep in mind, guys, is that these cards might be transcended, but they're not adding really jack for Rugal because they're all set up for Leona. They're all set up for a defensive character that has burn, right? Rugal doesn't have burn, and he isn't a defensive character. So he isn't going to benefit from any of these extra stats that are on these cards, except for the extra CP. That's it. The only card that's really giving him anything is this one right here that increases attack type fighters' bleed damage by 8%. That does help him a little bit, but this one here is for a defense fighter, so it doesn't help him at all. So yeah, they're transcended. It gives him some extra CP, but that's about it. They're not adding any other extra critical damages. They're not adding any extra bleed, except for the one cooldown card, and that is it. And, you guys have seen the videos. Rugal is pretty much destroying all kinds of things. He's pretty freaking nuts. Now, the team that I opted for, and luckily I do have Terry, and Terry's going to be kind of like my fodder guy in a way. I know that sounds crazy because Terry's so strong, but in the run I'm going to use, guys, I'm not really going to use him that much. Now, if I did, I'm sure I could increase my damage, right? But I just want to kind of show you a way that you can actually try to keep Rugal alive, especially if you're using the shout mechanism for his EX skill. Now, his striker bonus with 98 is good, because 98 does give him a heal, right? But the heal isn't really all that great. I mean, in all honesty, guys, really a short, quick fix is just put 98 Athena here, and you'll be able to keep Rugal alive through the entire match because 98 Athena just heals 30% of your heal. Gives you a 30% heal. So she'll always heal you, like, tremendously to where you can keep him alive through the entire fight, right? Rugal can get hit a couple times in this fight. I don't have any decreased damage received stones on him or anything like that at level 50, but remember, at level 50 you do have a lot more HP. Now, I'm using Terry because of Terry's leadership right? This increased attack TIE fighter by 60% is awesome. And also, I'm just using to use Terry because he has a shield. Again, I mean, if you had 0, you could put Rugal in the leadership, and you could have 0 right here, right? Or you could have Terry. If you have Terry and 0, you have Terry, 0, and Rugal. I mean, 0 is really going to be godly in this thing. It's going to be really, really good, guys. Again, because of the shield. But I want you to look at the difference whenever we're breaking the meter between Ginitz and Rugal. Even though Rugal's much stronger, you're going to see a pretty big difference, guys. Like, it really does. Like, the amount of hits you deal in Guild Raid makes all the difference as far as how much damage you do. Now, guys, I'm going to be talking while I'm doing this, so I guarantee it's not going to be, you know, up to par, proper gameplay. But you'll get the idea, right? And I'm just going to run through Terry, use his skills a little bit, right? We're going to use Rugal. And now, and there we go, right? And I do have a Serena set on Guinness, so I can build up my PG super fast. And all these hits are just going to start breaking Rugal down, right? And then I can switch to Rugal here, right? And we're using the damage from Rugal, but we're trying to keep him alive. Now, right after this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to Terry. Right? Okay, and we'll go back to Ginitz. Right? And see, what I'm doing is I got one character to absorb all the damage in Terry. I got another character to break the meter much faster because he does so many hits. Right? Beautiful thing about Ginitz is both his 3PG and his default, oh crap, are very long, which is nice. Now, that isn't exactly what we wanted. Now, there, I kind of screwed up. I didn't hit my shout, right? I'm just still not used to hitting the shout when I need to. We hit our 3PG, and then I'm going to switch in Terry real quick to make sure Rugal doesn't get exploded on. Now, I'm going to use this 3PG, right? I want Rugal to explode on Terry. Because if he hits Ginitz or he hits Rugal, he's going to do a tremendous amount of damage. So I still got to work out the bugs as far as timing everything. There we go. We got the explosion. Beautiful, right? And what I can do is kind of stall the timer a little bit with Ginitz here. So after this, we'll have our skills available. We can switch to Rugal, right? Do our 3PG. I mean, you got to heal with 98 Omega, but man, it really isn't that good. And boom, and we switch back to Ginitz. Use a 3PG. And you can see how this works out and how you can keep your characters alive. All these characters are getting buffed up by Terry, which is actually really nice. And, you know, I probably could play a little bit different. Damn it, I did it again. I didn't hit my shout when I should have. Hit our 3PG, and then we're going to switch in Terry. My shout is mapped on my controller on my L3 joystick. So we're going to bring in Terry. And there we go, right? And it works out really well. I mean, it's not that difficult to really do this kind of thing. I know not everybody's going to be able to do this. Not everybody's going to have, you know, a Terry lying around. But again, I mean, you could, if you have 0. You know, if you have 0, that's going to work really well as well because you do have a shield. Okay, come on. All right, here we go. We'll do our 3PG, and then we'll switch back to Terry. It works out really well. I mean, I'm not saying this is the best way. Right? And Terry he just stays alive because of his shield, right? His and his immunity. His survivability is just so good. It really makes, you know, switching around these characters a lot easier to do. I really wish I could get that shout in there. I mean, I really got to practice that. But as you guys can see, when it comes to breaking that meter, there we go. I hit the shout that time. Hit that 3PG, then we'll switch back to Terry. Rugal really is nutty now, man. Switch back to Ginnets. Perfecto, huh? Like I said, I'm not saying this is the best way, but if you had the tenacity on Rugal, you could actually keep Rugal in here the whole time. Right? You could keep him in here the whole time, whereas right now I'm like switching around back and forth, and you probably would do more damage if that was the case, guys. Right? You'd probably do a lot more damage if you could keep Rugal in there the whole time, if this is who you're using, right? Okay. And Ginnets. There we go. I mean, maybe we'll hit 3 billion, right? On Inferno. It's not too bad. My fame system's at level 10 for all the colors of my characters. And, we hit, almost 2.9 billion. I guarantee I could do better, guys. Just a little practice as far as, timing my characters and switching them in and out when I actually need to. I mean, but not too bad, right? Not too shabby at all. Right? And I was coming in here and I was talking and chatting as I was doing. My boy Gigaslayer here, getting it done, right? Using this team right here. You see he's using 0, right? Again, a godly character, right? Interesting that he's using Rugal as a striker, but still getting it done, right? And if you don't have Rugal, right, you notice, guys, I mean, I was pretty much just using Ginnets here just to break the meter. Like, I wasn't, even though Rugal does bleed, right, he doesn't do a lot of hits. He doesn't, on Inferno, he doesn't break the meter very, very fast. But Ginnets actually does it a lot better. He does it a lot faster, right? And you could actually use, Ginnets and then some other character as your damage dealer, right, on a team that you actually have set up. Right? In this situation, I was using Rugal, but you could actually use someone else. And that's actually pretty awesome. And actually makes this version of Ginnets actually more relevant. I mean, most players are probably not going to use them. They're going to use someone like 0. Obviously, they're going to be using Rugal, right? They're going to be using the OP characters. And even, I think, if you have Neo Tengu, I believe Neo Tengu has bleed as well, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see if I can find her really quick. Pretty sure she has bleed also. Looking for a SS team. There we go. And there she is. And I'm pretty sure old girl's got bleed as well. Yeah. And she does an insane amount of hits. So she might actually be a really good choice for that thing as well for Inferno against Rugal to help break that meter, because she does a lot of hits. She's like Ginnets 2.0. But I just thought it was cool that we could actually use, Ginnets to help break that meter. If I use Rugal and only Rugal in that thing, he will die. If you don't have that tenacity on him, his survivability it's honestly pretty trash. He doesn't have a shield. He's pretty much like a one-trick pony where he's just got insane damage and godly, but his survivability really isn't the greatest. You need to augment it some way, somehow, by either giving him tenacity if you get his EX skill unlocked whenever he's at A5, or you give him 98 Athena for a really good heal, or you're using a method like what I was doing where you're actually switching your characters and you're using another character to take the brunt of the damage whenever Rugal does his explosion. And I could have done more damage, especially if I would have used Terry and just used him whenever Rugal's meter was broken. I mean, definitely could have done a lot more damage. There was a lot of moments in that battle where we were just using Rugal. We just go into his free PG and use that, right? But if I'd been spamming Terry whenever Rugal's meter was broken, and then spamming, EX Rugal here whenever the meter was broken, we would have done more damage, guys. I mean, it's pretty nutty, but I just wanted to show you what happens if you're just switching your characters, maybe the kind of score that you could actually get, which is using Rugal if you're doing the old switcheroo like what I was doing. And hopefully it'll give you some other ideas as far as maybe a team composition that you could use to try to take down Inferno Rugal. And yeah, he's absolutely godly, and I do love it. He is my favorite character, right? I mean, anytime our favorite characters become the strongest damage dealer in the game, it's pretty awesome. It really is. So let me know what kind of teams you're using for Inferno. The characters that you're using. Are you using a switcheroo method? Are you just using like 98 Athena for a heal to keep your Rugal alive, or maybe keep other characters alive? And I do stream on Twitch at 9 p.m. GMT+7 time. The link is in the description below. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Y'all take care and have a good one. See you, everybody.